Hey guys, I'm Rich from NeoWin, and today we're unboxing the Lenovo ThinkBook 14S Yoga. So this is the first convertible from the ThinkBook lineup. And that's one of the things that makes it the most interesting to me, because I've always appreciated ThinkPad convertibles. I've appreciated ThinkPads in general. So if you're not familiar with ThinkBook, right? Think is the business brand from Lenovo. You got ThinkPad, you got ThinkStations, and now you have ThinkBook, which is still pretty new. It's aimed at small to medium-sized businesses, came out a couple years ago. And I think of it as the anti-ThinkPad, right? Because you look at the ThinkPad, and there are some very clear things that are antiquated about it. And I know, and I read the comments on this stuff. I know people disagree with me. There are people that love the track point still, right? You know that little red nub that lets you control the pointer on the screen? Yeah, that's the track point. It's ancient. It's a relic from the age of when Windows touchpads were bad, you know? And it's still on every single ThinkPad that comes out. You know, and the thing is, like, I know people disagree with me because all of this stuff, like, Lenovo would change it if it was that simple, but there are ThinkPad loyalists that love everything about ThinkPads and don't want change. Same thing, like, with that black body, you know, that we see from ThinkPad. So ThinkPad, it's like a newer, modern take on the business laptop. So we've seen like the 13S, the 14S were the first few. I just recently reviewed the 15P, and these things, I love them. They're wonderful PCs, but they always have these weird shortcomings. Like when I reviewed the 13S and the 14S, you couldn't charge from the USB Type-C port. And I'm like, wow, this thing would be perfect, except for this really, like, this deal breaker, you know. And those, I mean, they weren't expensive. They were pretty mid-range, around $600-700. Great value for the price. The 15P, you know, that came with a 4K display. You know, there's a lot of stuff that's really good about it. It had a 45-watt processor, dedicated graphics. You know, it's good stuff. So this is the 14S Yoga, and it's the first convertible since Lenovo started using ThinkBook, and you'll see some similarities to a ThinkPad convertible, and you know, a lot of stuff that's new. And one of the things that's new that you're about to see is that it comes in this beautiful color. It's called Abyss Blue. Now, by the way, if you're worried about charging through the USB Type-C port, you absolutely can with this. There are two USB Type-C ports. One of them is Thunderbolt 4, and the other one is not, but it still supports power delivery. So you should be able to charge through either one. So this is the Abyss Blue ThinkBook 14S Yoga. It is beautiful. You see, it's got this two-tone design, and that's something that we're seeing more from ThinkBooks over, say, the past year. I saw it with the 15P that I reviewed. Now, if you don't like it, it also comes in your regular mineral gray color, which, you know, it's fine. I like silver and gray laptops. It's like, it's cool, but it's like it's a dime dozen. You know, like there are millions of silver and gray laptops out there. I love to see a nice blue like this, which you won't see on ThinkPad except for the Chromebook that I recently unboxed, right? So yeah, I mean, just the look of this, it looks awesome. Weighs about 3 1/3 pounds, so it's not particularly light. It is made of aluminum, which is a heavier material. So that's just the way it is, but it's just beautiful. And you know, it's funny. I actually when Lenovo said they were sending it to me, I'm like, please tell me that you're sending me Abyss Blue. Apparently, it's a limited edition color. I love it. And it's also like the rest of the ThinkBook lineup really is just that mineral gray type of color. So this is something that's a little different. So let's take a look. Okay, now we have a USB Type A port over on the side here. It is USB 3.2 Gen 1. And so that means you're going to get 5 gigabit per second speeds rather than 10 gigabits per second that you'd get from 3.2 Gen 2. Power button here. We have a pen. All right, so this is a similarity that you're going to see to ThinkPad convertibles that always have that pen included. So I'm a big fan of this method. For instance, like a Microsoft Surface Book, you have a full-size pen that gets attached to the side. And so like that's the The one drawback to having it stored inside the device is that it's a smaller pen. But I personally like it because I like that it's just always with me. It doesn't fall off of my bag. It does charge, and it's just always charged. So you always have it when you need it, and it makes it nice and easy. I don't know. I mean, if you're primarily a tablet user, you can always invest in a third-party pen. So like the options there. I personally prefer the Pen Garage method like that. On this other side here, like I said, we do have two USB Type-C ports. One of them is Thunderbolt 4. One of them is not. It is USB 3.2 Gen 2, so you do get that 10 gigabits per second speeds. Now, you also get with this port, it's a pretty full port. It's DisplayPort 1.4, and you get power delivery. So you can use this, and you can connect to a 4K display. HDMI over here. This is 1.4B. I laugh because it's weird. Like they really went all in on the ports over here. Well, almost all, and they could have done two Thunderbolt 4, but I digress. Because HDMI 2.0, I don't really understand why we still see HDMI 1.4B, but so yeah, you could do 4K, but I think at 30 hertz or something, it's you want to stick to full HD or QHD. And then, of course, we have another USB Type A port. This one is always on, so that means if the laptop's plugged into power, you can still use this to charge a device, even if it's not powered on. And then 3.5 millimeter audio jack. By the way, the thing about Thunderbolt 4, which is nice, 40 gigabit per second data transfer speeds. You can connect two 4K monitors on a single port, or one 8K monitor. You can plug in an external GPU. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do with Thunderbolt 4. Most ThinkBooks I don't even think had Thunderbolt 3, but if you had a device that had the full spec of Thunderbolt 3, you actually you're not getting any benefit with Thunderbolt 4. So it was the base spec that you're really getting a real improvement. So like the thing about it was you couldn't really tell what you were buying. So now it's pretty clear what Thunderbolt 4 is. Like I said, we have the power button on the side, and it's almost a little jarring to me just because I'm so used to ThinkBooks. ThinkBooks usually have the power button right up here. It doubles as a fingerprint sensor, which obviously, based on the sticker, so does the one on the side. But it doubles as a fingerprint sensor, and what's cool is that it always scans your fingerprint sensor when you first press it, so you don't have to touch it again after the PC boots up, making it nice and easy. Just that one-touch sign-in. And, then you don't have to worry about, an IR camera. Personally, I think that's the best way to get in because you touch it, the PC boots up, and you're in. Over here, we do have a privacy guard, so we can just do that, and that'll open up our webcam. You don't have to put tape over it or anything. This is not a new feature. Privacy guards have been becoming pretty popular over the last couple of years. Lenovo was one of the first to do it in its ThinkPad. So, we're just seeing that everywhere. The keyboard is nice. Now, here's the thing that you got to keep in mind. Lenovo's renowned for the keyboards in ThinkPads. And those ThinkPads have 1.5 millimeter keys. This is shallower. It feels more modern, like I said. And like I said, you don't have a track point here. That would be sitting right here. More modern. Clickable trackpad. ThinkPads also have clickable trackpads, but they have those physical buttons at the top. No physical buttons here because those physical buttons are mainly designed for use with the track point, right? So another thing about this, obviously, Iris Xe graphics. And so this is 11th gen. So that means you're going to get, it's a 2nd gen 10 nanometer processor from Intel. And you actually get some power here. And if we take a look at what's offered in here, it's going to be a Core i7 1165 G7, which is good. And it comes with Iris Xe graphics, right? Core i7 1165 G7, 16 gigs of RAM. This one has 512 gigs of storage as well. So with Iris Xe, you can play full HD games. You could do some video editing on this machine. In fact, it's really cool that Intel has started focusing on integrated graphics, which it didn't do in previous years. And honestly, I look at some of these tiny, tiny little PCs, and I look at what you can do with them. with integrated graphics that I would have sworn just a couple years ago that you would need dedicated graphics for. It's really cool. All right, so that is the ThinkBook 14S Yoga. And like I said, it is the first convertible from the ThinkBook lineup. So that means you can obviously use it as a tablet here. And that's the whole point of having that. Got to open this up a little bit to get to it. But that's the point of having that pen inside here. So you can, if you need to, you can just start writing. You know, obviously Windows Ink is a thing. You can write on photos in the Photos app. You could draw roots in the Maps app. You can take handwritten notes in OneNote, all that kind of stuff. So I mean, it's really designed like most convertibles. It's designed that you're primarily using it as a clamshell, right? It's a laptop. If you were just using it as a tablet, you would probably buy a tablet. But there are times when you might want to use it as a tablet, so then you could easily just you flip the screen back, you pull the pen out, it's in there. And here's the thing, that's why I like the Pen Garage method, because if you look at like the Surface Book, these things are clearly designed to be laptops first. So if you're not using them as tablets frequently, then it doesn't make sense to have a pen magnetically attached to the side, because it's a pain point. It falls off in your bag, and it sits at the bottom of your bag for months until you actually use it. And then also the battery dies. It's got a quadruple A battery, which is not at your local drugstore. It's not rare. You'll find it at a Best Buy or something, but it's got a quadruple A battery. The battery dies, and then when you actually go to use it, that you've been carrying it around for so long, the battery's dead and you got to change it. So I mean, now this is always with you. It doesn't get in your way, and it's always charged. So it's really cool. This is going to be a really well-built device, and I'm going to have a great time reviewing it. I've been looking forward to this one because I do enjoy ThinkBooks a lot. And I really want to get my hand on the ThinkBook Plus that has the e-ink display on the outside, but I digress. So yeah, I'll have a review on this in a few weeks, so stay tuned. I'm Rich from NeoWin. Have a great night.